This building collapse, partial building collapse, a 12-story residential building. At least one person has been confirmed dead. The rescue effort has been underway overnight, but the pictures as the daylight has come has shown this devastation. Again, this is in Surfside, just north of Miami Beach in Florida. These are family units. We are told that some families walked out on their own. However, the mayor there has told us there was no reason to believe that this building was not full when this building collapsed overnight. 911 calls started coming in around 1 a.m. in the morning. 1 in the morning. So we are standing by for these folks to give us the update. The city officials, it looks like they are getting started. We're getting an idea of what the format is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and listen in. We'll wait just a moment. There sounds like they're doing a little housekeeping here, but it's been a horrific situation so far to keep an eye on. But let's get the update now and listen to the officials there about this building collapse.
Pepe Diaz, Board of County Commission Chairman. From there, we're going to go with Mr. Andrew Hyatt, who's Surfside City Manager. We're going to do English, followed immediately by Spanish of each speaker. And at the end, we will do questions and answers. We're going to do questions and answers to the very end because we have inclement weather that's coming, so bear with us as much as we can, okay? And once we call the last question, it'll be the last question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the Honorable Levine Cava.
Thank you, thank you. Well, here we are, the unimaginable, incredible. Our prayers are with the residents, with the families, with the community. What we know at this point is that the Champlain Tower, Tower South, is a 12-story building. It's more than 130 units, and about half of those have collapsed. A massive search and rescue is underway, and we know that we're going to do everything we can possibly do to identify and rescue those who have been trapped in the rubble. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue is leading the efforts, and they have been on the scene since the early morning, and they're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much to our brave fire rescue workers. They have years of experience in this type of operation, and they are doing everything they possibly can do, so we need to allow them to do their work. Very important. We need to allow them to do their work because every minute in this search can make a huge difference. We've set up a family reunification hotline for those who are trying to get information about their loved ones. Call 305-614-1819, 614-1819, or you can go to miamidade.gov/emergency to report online missing persons or to check in if someone is safe. So again, 305-614-1819. Chaplains and victim advocates are on site ready to support the survivors and family members who will be in need of resources. Our social service agencies as well are coming in. They are going to be here to assist in the hours and the days ahead. I'm thinking of all of our first responders. I know you are as well, and praying for their safety as they go about their difficult work of saving lives. Bueno, aquí estamos, lo increíble que ha ocurrido. Ya sabemos que tenemos un edificio de 12 pisos y más que 130 viviendas. Y estamos haciendo la operación masiva para encontrar los que están todavía allí y también el rescate de los que están en el edificio que no ha colapsado. Y estamos con la agencia de nuestros bomberos que están haciendo su trabajo excelente, como siempre, con su expertise de muchos años en este tipo de emergencia. Y debemos dejarlos hacer su trabajo,
update here
porque
from
cada minuto cuenta.
the Miami-Dade County Mayor, Levine Cava, who was giving us the update, and she started with the word unimaginable. And we got an update here that this 12-story partial collapse of an apartment building, a residential building, giving us the update that 130 units are in that building, and she says that half of them have collapsed. The rescue efforts are underway as we speak. We do know that at least one person has been confirmed dead, but they are trying to rescue others as we speak. She said that every single minute is making a huge difference right now in this rescue effort. We do know that some families were able to walk out on their own. However, an earlier update said only about 15 families were able to do that and walk on their own, walk out on their own. Our Victor Akendo has been on this story for us. We're going to get to him in just a moment. Victor, stand by with us. We have someone else stepping to
in our community, and especially the city of Surfside, when something like this actually happens. It is important that all your prayers go out to the family members and those that are suffering right now. I want to thank all the first responders for the incredible job that they've been doing, they have done, and that we'll be doing for the next several days in dealing with this. It is important that we all rally around the families and the people that are actually suffering so much at this time. I want to thank my colleague also that is here, Rene Garcia, along with all my colleagues that have been calling nonstop to try to find out anything they could do to help out. We are together as a community, working together, as the mayor said, all the details have been given, but we're here together to find anything that we could do to help the families that have gone through this tragedy. So, on behalf of Miami-Dade County's Commission, as the chairman of the board, we're here in support to Surfside and this community and everything we could do. Estoy aquí de parte de la comisión de Miami-Dade County como su presidente. Ya oyeron de la alcaldesa que dio detalles anteriormente de la circunstancia que tenemos por delante.
Listen in here to Jose Diaz, who is on the Miami-Dade County Commission. I want to bring in our Victor Akendo, who has been on scene for us really overnight and into this morning. Victor, let me bring you in here. And again, the word that they started with was unimaginable, and it is. And it's unbelievable to see these pictures. Give us an idea of what they are up against right now and what the hope is of possibly finding some survivors in that rubble.
Well, that certainly is the hope, TJ, but let me show you where we are. That's the building right there behind me. The front of it, it's still standing. However, as the mayor just described, there's more than 130 units in that building, and about half of them came crashing down, and we're being kept at a distance because we're told it could still totally collapse any minute now, yet firefighters are still inside. We should also tell you that it looks like a storm is about to roll right through Miami-Dade County, which these guys already have an incredibly difficult job ahead of them right now. That for sure will only complicate matters as they continue to search for any survivors here. The latest we know, one person is confirmed dead, but the local mayor here in Surfside thinks that that death toll could rise. TJ?
All right, Victor, we're going to continue to check in with you, but let's check back in with this press conference now.
LLAH, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. So Miami-Dade Fire Rescue at approximately 1:30 this morning responded to a reported building collapse. To summarize, we had a 12-story, 136 unit apartment complex that had sustained a partial collapse. The northeast corridor of the apartment had collapsed, approximately 55 apartment units. Our units began search and rescue efforts. They pulled 35 occupants that were trapped inside the building. In addition to those 35, 10 were assessed and treated. 2 were transported to various hospitals. Search and rescue efforts are still ongoing. We do have operations conducting inside based on additional intel that we're receiving from resources inside. To kind of echo the mayor's words, we have established a reunification center, and if you do have loved ones that are not answering your call, we ask that you do contact the phone number that's been given to you, 305-614-1819. Thank you.
To do the Spanish for Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, PIO Erika Benitez.
Erika Benitez, portavoz del Departamento de Bomberos de Miami-Dade.
We'll continue, and folks, just take a look at this scene. The daylight reveals just how incredible and devastating this is. You're looking at a 12-story residential, an apartment building in Surfside, Florida, with a partial collapse. We just heard from the fire chief there that, in fact, there are 136 units in this building. 55 of them have collapsed. They have pulled out at least 35 people, he said, have been rescued. Some of them had to be treated, but 35 people were rescued. Those rescue efforts do continue. I want to bring in, as we look at this picture, Steve McGill, who's a Jersey City fire chief. And Steve, what do you think when you see this picture? And something I just heard them say is that there's concern that there could be a further collapse.
Yeah, that's would be my major concern right now. You don't know what initially caused that collapse. Their rescue teams like ours will be putting up transits, basically laser beams, shooting at the building to see if there's any of the slightest movement And if there is, they're going to track that to see if the building is still shifting. One of the worst tragedies could happen is another secondary collapse while we have firefighters in there trying to rescue other people that are in there. Due to the time that this happened, there's definitely people that are going to be in there that are trapped.
Steve, as we look at this picture, look, right now the effort is to try to save as many lives as we can. And Steve, stay with me here. We do have Miami-Dade Police that have stepped to the podium here to continue to update us
will be
at this
the
press
lead
conference.
investigative agency. We will be working with Surfside Police Department and our other municipal partners. Our goal is to provide a thorough investigation and closure for our families. Estamos aquí, somos los príncipes en la investigación de lo que ha pasado aquí. Vamos a trabajar junto con las otras agencias y estamos rezando para la familia y las víctimas. Gracias.
Can you repeat your name and title?
Freddie Ramirez, Director, Miami-Dade Police Department.
City Manager for Surfside, Mr. Andrew Hyatt.
First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers are with the families and the victims. Also, I just want to make sure that the emergency personnel understand how important it is that we have their participation here. We appreciate it very much. We've been in contact with Senator Scott, Senator Rubio's office. We've been in touch with the governor's office, Governor DeSantis, the county mayor, other towns in our area, and we're very appreciative of what they've offered and the assistance, anything we need. This is not going to be something that is going to be brief. It's going to be something that's going to be for the long term and possibly, at least a week. And these people behind me, it's very important that you recognize them because there's a lot of support here, and this is who is helping to make this happen, that we can resolve this as quick as possible. Thank you.
Fire rescue, they said that 35 people were pulled from the building. Were those people pulled from the part of the building that's still intact?
Okay, due to the lightning that you just saw, we're only going to allow for 4 questions, and for the safety of everyone here, we're going to move them out. You guys are going to be moved to the next block over. This is going to be vacated due for safety reasons. So just 4 questions, and then we're going to continue on really quick. Fire
rescue. What can you tell us about numbers? What kind of equipment do you have that's uniquely positioned to help in this situation?
So, in regards to the equipment, we do have our heavy rescue. We have our heavy equipment such as our Paratechs. We are shoring up the structure on the inside as we continue to tunnel in to locate additional survivors.
How many people?
The third question, we're 35 people. How many of them were pulled from the undamaged part of the building versus the damaged part? And how many people, question 1, and how many were pulled from the part that collapsed?
All right, so part 1, 35 were pulled out from the structure and part of the collapse, but not from the rubble, and 2 were pulled from the rubble.
Do you have a list of people who are disappeared?
That information, I'll defer that to Miami-Dade Police Department.
How many people are still missing?
Renovations, as we understand, doing. Can you elaborate as to what was going on?
I don't have that information. I'll defer that.
People stuck under the rubble?
Currently, search and rescue operations are continuing based on the intel that we have.
How many people are still missing?
In regards to the number of people missing, we don't have the total missing. We haven't established that. Again, we ask that you continue to contact that reunification number that's been given out until we go from there.
Are you bracing for the death toll to go substantially higher?
At this time, we're still conducting search and rescue operations, so we really don't have that type of information.
Folks, because of the lightning, we're going to have to get people out. We need to have you guys start packing up. It's going to be on the lot just north of here. You're going to it's about a block over. You're going to see it's Miami Beach Police securing the area. That will be the media staging area. All of this will be cleared off for safety reasons.
Folks, you are looking at just a devastating, a heartbreaking scene, and you heard from officials there that potentially this could get even more devastating. To hear some of the updates, and the latest we just heard from that fire department official is that they haven't established how many people are missing after this partial building collapse in Surfside, Florida this morning. Just a horrific scene. Just a horrific scene here. And as we know, Victor Oquendo, you were speaking to me earlier, that in fact, something that's going to complicate possibly the search and rescue, the fact that that's Florida and those storms come in and they go quickly, but you all are being moved out because of the lightning. So let me, before we lose you here for safety reasons, tell me what jumped out at you about what you heard the officials say.
TJ, there are still just so many unanswered questions here. We don't know how many are missing. The big question, how could this have possibly happened in this place with so many people still inside that building? When I spoke to the mayor of Surfside earlier, one quick note here, he told me that in the middle of the night when they initially sent those search dogs inside, those dogs, they look for sound. They're trying to come up with any sound, and they did not get a single hit inside the rubble. That is why he is so concerned that there could be even more dead bodies inside that scene. TJ?
Okay, Victor Oquendo, we thank you for your reporting. You get to safety, but again, for our audience, that scene, that picture, that incredible picture that you are seeing right now is a partial building collapse in Surfside, Florida. This is a residential building where there are at least 136 units in that building. We are told now that 55 of those units have collapsed. 35 people have been pulled out, rescued, but we hear from the fire official that only 2 of those were actually from the rubble. Again, when you try to do the math here, as I bring in Steve McGill, who's with the Jersey City Fire Chief, sir, as we look at this and you think at 1 o'clock in the morning when this was all taking place, this is a residential building, you'll assume that most people were probably home. That building might have been full. We did not get word about exactly how many people are still missing. The fire department did not have that number, but the search continues. What do you see now as you look at that building? Fire, search and rescue is the key thing right now and saving lives, but we're going to have to figure out what in the world could have caused a relatively young building, some 30 years old, to collapse in such a way.
So right now, they're after they've done their reconnaissance, which I'm sure they've completed already, finding out where most of the people were, trying to track down who was in there. What was in that building? Were there any other type of dangers in there? Were there pesticides? Were the utilities shut down? Is there gas lines that are ruptured? There's a lot of things they're trying to do now, probably with the assistance of their investigators on the police side. They're going to be looking at anybody who has video, anybody who has any type of security cameras around there to try and pinpoint why and where this occurred and what may have caused it. Right now, due to that time of night, you're going to assume people are home sleeping. That's the worst time to have an event like this. We deal with this at fires. You're always going to assume there are people in that building at that time of night.